Hello, and welcome to Speak Honest. I am your host and certified relationship coach, Jennifer Noble. It has been my passion for over a decade to help women like you heal what's been holding you back from having the relationships you deserve. Are you struggling with a relationship where you can't seem to voice your emotions, needs, and boundaries without having it blow up in your face? Then you have found the right podcast, my friend. Get ready for practical tips, empowering truths, and honest conversations. Now, let's dive in.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Speak Honest. On today's episode, we're going to dive into a crucial topic, which is how to recognize red flags in relationships and what do you do when you find them. So I'm Jen Noble, and I'm your relationship coach, and I am excited to guide you through this process so we can begin to build healthier, more fulfilling connections. Before we dive in, I want to let everyone know about our free Facebook group that we have. You can go and search for it. On Facebook, it's just Speak Honest, or you can check for the link in the show notes. It should be there as well. It's a great, great community of women that are just like you, just looking to try to better their communication and better their connections with their partners. It's a great place to utilize getting lots of free resources from me. It's where I will host weekly support sessions. So you can come in, you do a little bit of intro into a topic, and then afterwards we have about 45 minutes of Q&A. This is actually where I got this topic from, because in our last support session, we did an entire session on red flags, and it was really wonderful, and it was so beautiful to see all the women come in and ask all of their questions. So this would be a great opportunity for you to come in and get your questions asked as well. So join our free Facebook group to do that. Now, let's dive in. So first, I want to know, do you want to know how to not only recognize red flags, but what to do when you find them? Because this is the foundation of our discussion today. Because recognizing a red flag is one thing, but knowing how to respond to it is what truly makes a difference. So let's start off with what exactly are red flags. Well, they are those early warning signs that something might be off in a relationship. But here's the thing. They're not always about someone being toxic or bad. They absolutely can be, but if we look at red flags as the other person is toxic, then we are inadvertently shaming ourselves, because what type of person falls for a toxic person? Exactly. Instead, red flags are anything that makes you question your compatibility with someone. For example, it absolutely could be that someone is consistently disrespecting your boundaries, they're being dishonest, or they don't prioritize your feelings. Sure, yeah, and those don't feel good, and we need to look at those behaviors. But red flags can also be more subtle, like they're really focused on their career and social life, or they chew with their mouth open, or they really, really love dogs, but you're a cat person, right? It's about whether this person aligns with what you're looking for in a relationship, rather than labeling them as a bad person. So now, recognizing red flags can be challenging, especially when emotions are involved. So to help you navigate this process, I've developed kind of a 3-step system that you can use to evaluate any relationship. The first step is to reflect on your past relationships. So by looking back, you can identify patterns and moments when red flags were present, but perhaps you overlooked them. And next, we'll tune into our feelings, understanding our emotional and physical reactions. That's the crucial part, because our bodies often signal discomfort before our minds even catch up. And finally, we'll explore why you didn't act on those red flags when they popped up. Understanding the reasons behind inaction can actually empower us to make different choices in the future. So let's start with reflecting on past relationships. This step is essential because our past experiences often hold the key to recognizing patterns we don't want to repeat. Reflection helps us identify our emotions and the somatic experience that goes along with them, providing deeper insights into our past relationships and guiding us in recognizing red flags in the future. So to break it down, there are 2 sub-steps basically to follow for this portion of the steps. First, identify the issue. I want you to pinpoint the main problem in the relationship. So for example, you might recognize that your partner wasn't consistent in their communication with you. This helps you clearly see the red flag and understand its impact on both yourself and the relationship. So get really specific here. And then second, I want you to look back on when you first noticed this. Think about when the issue first appeared. Maybe when you first met online, you got on Tinder or Bumble and you noticed that he was a little hit or miss with when he got back to you. These early signs often reveal patterns that persisted throughout the relationship. And next, we're going to dive into how these issues made you feel and how to connect them to your emotional reactions. So, step 2 is tune into your feelings. Tuning into your feelings is a crucial step in paying attention to the physical sensations you experience during those red flag moments. Remember to stay curious during this process. I don't want you to start judging yourself for how you feel about anything here. I want you to just stay curious. So the first question you can ask yourself, how did I feel at that moment? Your emotions are often the first signals that something might be off. So for example, imagine you were in a relationship where your partner constantly cancels plans last minute. How does that make you feel? Was it frustrated? Disappointed? See, these feelings are important to recognize because they are your body's way of telling you that something isn't quite right. If you feel consistently undervalued or ignored, it's a red flag that shouldn't be overlooked. But what about the physical sensations? Let's go there next. So ask yourself, what physical sensations did I notice? Physical reactions can reveal your true feelings before your mind ever does. Maybe you noticed a knot in your stomach every time your partner belittled you in front of friends, or you felt your chest get really tight when they dismissed your concerns. These sensations are your body's natural response to stress and discomfort, so signaling that something is wrong. For example, a friend of mine used to feel really nauseous every time her partner criticized her in public, and she later realized it was her body's way of responding to a lack of respect in the relationship. Another question you can ask yourself is, was I comfortable with how I was treated? Feeling uneasy might indicate a lack of respect or alignment in the relationship. So ask yourself, was I comfortable with how I was treated? And if your partner's behavior made you feel small or anxious or unsure, those are clear signs of discomfort. So for instance, if your partner was overly critical or dismissive and you found yourself questioning your worth or walking on eggshells around them, that discomfort is a red flag. Comfort and respect should be foundational in any relationship. Now that we've gone through the first 2 steps, now that you have gone backwards in time and you've looked at what the red flags were and you started identifying how you feel them in your body, I want us to explore why we held back. Getting real with yourself and understanding why you didn't act at the time might sound simple, but it's incredibly difficult to do without a lot of blame and shame coming up. So take this part slow and work through that shame as it comes up and be extra kind to yourself during this time, okay? Because listen, it's okay if when he yelled at you that first time, you didn't say anything because you thought it was a one-off. And it's okay if you kept thinking that even after 5 more times. Our minds do this weird and wild thing to kind of keep us stuck in certain situations. And I want you to remember that it's not your fault. It's just a part of our attachment wounds. So during the part of this process, remember 2 key things. Have self-compassion. Treat yourself with kindness and understanding as you explore those difficult memories. And get specific about what held you back. Was it a fear of conflict? A hope that things would change? Maybe hope that you could change things, that you could change him. Maybe uncertainty about what to do. The more specific you can be, the better you'll understand your patterns and be able to change them in the future. Exploring why you held back is key to breaking the cycle and making different choices moving forward. By recognizing these patterns, you can better equip yourself to respond proactively to red flags in your current and future relationships. So as we wrap up here today, here are a couple questions that I want you to start thinking about. First, what specific red flags will I look out for in the future? It's a really great question, something you can jot down on your journal tonight if you're thinking about things. Just really start thinking about what specific red flags are you going to start looking out for. And secondly, I want you to ask yourself this. how can I approach myself with compassion during this process? So how can you make sure that the blame and shame game doesn't go on in your mind when you start thinking about, oh my gosh, he did this, and how did I not recognize it when he did this on our second date, and he treated the waitress so poorly, I should have realized he was going to treat me poorly. Listen, compassion, okay? You didn't know, and we cannot shift out of our patterns in a place of judgment. So it's so important that you see why you did that. You just weren't sure. You thought maybe he would change. You are afraid of conflict. All of these reasons are absolutely okay. And it's just a part of the process. Thank you all so much for being with me here today on another amazing episode of Speak Honest. Again, I want you to come and join the Facebook group. I think it's a beautiful, beautiful community of women, and we're all just lifting each other up and helping each other and asking questions, and I'm in there to help you if you need it. I'm here for whatever it is that you need. Join our Facebook group, Speak Honest. The link is in the show notes. I'll see you there, and I will talk to you next week. Take care.
As we wrap up today's conversation, always remember that healing is a journey, not a destination. And it is an honor to be a part of your healing journey. If you want to dig deeper into the topics we covered today, be sure to head over to our show notes where you can find all of the valuable information mentioned in today's episode right there. And please remember to rate, review, and subscribe if you enjoyed today's podcast. Your feedback means the world to us and helps others discover our podcast. Until next time, remember to speak up and speak honest.